So if it wasn't abundantly clear, I like Halo. If it wasn't obvious by the amount of videos I make on Halo or whatever else it is I do with Halo, I love Halo. I have very opinionated feelings about Halo, so I decided to make a tier list on Halo HUDs. Not Halo games just yet, we'll get there soon enough, but this is a tier list on every single kind of different HUD in every FPS Halo game. This is like my 5th time shooting this video now, so I hope I get to the point and not drag on what I'm trying to say. So, starting off strong, we have the Halo CE HUD, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in You're Almost There, because actually I take that back. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in perfect because it's just quite literally perfect as it is. For it being like the very first HUD in any single Halo game, they nailed a lot of things correctly. I'm personally not a big fan of the health bar being in the top right. I wish it would have been centered from the start, but beggars can't be choosers. Up next, we have the Halo 2 HUD, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in You're Almost There, mostly because I'm not a big fan of the weapon and ammo counter being separate from the grenades. I feel like they should all be bundled together as one. So that's the only reason why Halo 2 is in You're Almost There. Up next, we have Halo 2 Anniversary, multiplayer specifically. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in You're Almost There. It does a lot of things right, but still does the thing of separating the weapon count and the grenades separately. And I'm not a big fan of how everything seems like really close to the middle of the screen. I wish it would have been farther to the edges. But yeah, Halo 2 multiplayer is getting the You're Almost There treatment just for that reason. Up next, and I'm not entirely sure why I did these ones separate, but Halo 3 Elites and Halo 3 Spartans. They're both gonna go in perfect as you are because just Halo 3 does a lot right, and the Halo 3 was the first Halo game to introduce visor HUD lines that are very faded, but their opacity is perfect for what they're trying to do. I like that it's there, it gives a more realistic feel or just immerses you into the game. Just big fan of that. I wish they would have bundled the grenades with the weapons together just because kind of just a picky thing I like to, pick out. Up next, we have the Halo 4 multiplayer, and we'll start off nice with this one because I have a lot to say about the Halo 4 and Halo 5 campaign HUDs. But Halo 4 multiplayer, I'm gonna go ahead and put in You're Almost There because just like Halo 3, it does a lot of stuff right. It has the visor lines and pretty much the same thing as Halo 3, just a bit busier, and has some nonsense visor lines. I'm not even sure how to describe it, but I'll describe it once I get to the campaign ones. Halo 3 ODST, I'm gonna go ahead and put in perfect. I'm just a big fan of the Halo 3 HUD. There's not really much to say about it. It does all the same things that every single other HUD besides Halo 1 did, which was separate the grenades from the ammo count, but definitely going in perfect for me just because Halo 3 ODST is one of my favorite Halo games. So definitely getting the perfect treatment. And lastly, before moving on into 343 territory, Halo Reach. Halo Reach, I'm gonna go ahead and put in You're Almost Perfect because I'm not a big fan of the compass on the top, and again, while it's not on the picture, the weapon and grenade count is separate, so just another nitpick thing I like to just pick out, just, being picky. But that is it for the Bungie and the 343 or few 343 HUDs. There was a few things I would change, but I'm not a game developer, so there's not much I can do in terms of that. Now we get to the 343 side of things. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Halo 4 campaign HUD, which is Master Chief's HUD through and through. And I'm gonna put in tolerable. Personally, not a big fan of the helmet borders being on the top, just around the edges of the screen. It just feels really claustrophobic, and all the other added nonsense visor lines and numbers just on the screen, just super annoying, just doesn't need to be there, and it's just very obnoxious. And the opacity could have definitely gone down a bit. Then up next after that, we are moving on to Halo 5 finally. And I'm going to start off nice with the Halo 5 multiplayer HUD, which I'm going to put in, actually, You're Almost There. The only thing stopping me from putting it in perfect is the grenade and weapon separation, and the fact that the weapon icon itself is bigger than the ammo count, which I know on half the weapons, or not really half, but on most of the weapons, that's the same thing. On some of the weapons, the ammo count is quite literally on the gun itself, but the ammo count in the top right of the screen should be bigger than the weapon icon. Like, the sizes should just go ahead and swap places and it'd be good. Now, time for the 8 separate and different campaign HUDs. Thank you, Halo 5, for the squad mechanic. It is really cool, and I like the idea behind it, but the HUDs needed some work. Starting off strong, we have Halo 5 Master Chief, which is also going to go ahead and go intolerable. Actually, you know what? I'm indifferent about this one. I'm gonna go ahead and put Halo 5 Chief in needs some work. The main separation between the Halo 4 and Halo 5 Chief HUD is the difference between Halo 4 and the Halo 5 HUD is because MCC allows for an FOV slider and weapon offsets, which makes the game's HUD a bit more tolerable because it doesn't seem as claustrophobic or in your face. As for Halo 5, it doesn't have those things, and it just made all the nonsense visor lines and random numbers on the screen a lot more just in your face and just more of it. It's just very busy stuff, not a fan of it. Halo 5 Fred is also going to go ahead and go in needs some work because it is almost exactly the same as Chiefs, not much to mention about it besides the same old stuff I just mentioned. Then going to go ahead and move on to blue team's Kelly. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put in You're Almost There because the only helmet borders she has are on the bottom left and bottom right of the screen, and they're just barely there. Again, same complaint about all the other Halo 5 HUDs. I would change the size of the weapon icon and the ammo count, just swap them around and be perfect. Grenades with the weapons, and then just maybe dim the opacity of the visor lines and remove all the other added nonsense. But big fan of Kelly's because you pretty much get your entire screen besides those two bottom corners. So yeah, ever given the chance to play multiplayer Halo 5 campaign, I'm picking Kelly. And then, sorry Linda, but please bleach my eyes. Only because there is a border on the center and every single corner of the screen. The only edges of the screen that don't have borders are on the left center and the right center. Just, there's a lot wrong with this HUD, and not going to mention more about it, just not a fan. Please fix it. It is terrible. Now up next, we are moving on to Fireteam Osiris. Fireteam Osiris starting off with Locke, and Locke is actually the main reason, Locke's HUD is the main reason I want to even do this video. Just gonna go ahead and put on needs some work. It's not nearly as claustrophobic as some other HUDs. Actually, no, it's probably the most claustrophobic. I don't know why I said that. Locke's HUD's gonna go ahead and go with Please Bleach My Eyes. It's almost nearly as bad as Linda's, but not by much. Or Linda's is, I don't know how to word that. Locke's HUD is terrible. Not a fan of the giant thick notch in the middle on the top, and then the left and right and middle bottom notches. And again, all just the visor lines, all the same stuff I won't repeat. Just not a fan of it. After Locke, we have Tanaka, and I'm gonna go ahead and put her intolerable only because she only has the bottom left, right, and top middle notch. It's still in your face and claustrophobic, but not nearly as bad. I also like that her health bar and her shield bar isn't at like a weird shape and actually spans a decent amount of the screen. Up next after Tanaka is Vale, and I'm also going to put Vale in tolerable only because her HUD is pretty much the same as Tanaka's. I'm just a bigger fan of the shade of purple. Super cool stuff, and just Vale, like your HUD. That's pretty much all I have to say about that one. And lastly, of the Fireteam Osiris, we have Buck. While I put the Halo 3 ODST HUD in perfect, Buck's is going in needs some work. It kind of has the same case of Linda's HUD, but not nearly as bad because Buck's HUD at least doesn't have those weird circular visor lines, and while he does have a barrier or HUD border around his entire screen for the most part, it's not as prominent and not in your face, which is nice. But yeah, Buck, buddy old pal, you need some work. And then lastly, to end us off strong, we have the Halo Infinite HUD, which I'm going to go ahead and put in perfect. The nice thing about Halo Infinite is the fact that you actually have weapon offsets, FOV, and you can actually change the opacity of the HUD's just opacity. Mine was set to 0.5, so you can actually see everything clearly and just clear as day, really. I like that the weapon and the grenades are finally together in the bottom. You have your motion tracker on the bottom left like it always is, and then the health bar on the top middle, which just Halo Infinite, you did a lot of things right, and it also has the right amount of visor lines to still give you the feeling that you're in a Spartan's helmet without feeling super claustrophobic like almost all of Halo 5. This is my overall ranking of all the Halo HUDs that I could find. I'm pretty sure there's more than this, but I wasn't gonna pick every single individual one out like the Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary HUD when it's just the same thing but with slight altercations. Just, nah. The one thing I did do differently is the Halo 3 Elite and Halo 3 Spartan HUDs. Don't entirely know why I decided to do that one separately. They're pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Just not gonna prolong it. Just needed something short to fill in the gap because I'm working on a different video. More on that later. So if you watch this video to the end, thank you. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.